Hi, thank you for letting me know that you could not hear. It looks like there was something up with my mute function. So can you hear me okay now? Can you just send me a quick message? Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me introduce myself. My name is Angela Liang, and I was born and raised in Taiwan. And I came to Canada about 22 years ago. So I've been living in Canada for the majority of my life. And I've always been in Vancouver. So I really love this city. Let me get started. So today we have quite a lot to talk about. I know that a lot of people in Hong Kong already know where Vancouver is, and you have a little bit of information about Vancouver, but I still want to give you a little bit more details about it in case you have never been to Vancouver and you would like to know more information about the city. So I'll talk about living in Vancouver, including our campus locations. I will talk about the study options at VCC. So what programs are popular, how much is the tuition for the programs, and what is the English requirements. I will also focus a little bit more on working eligibility, especially for international students who graduated from VCC. How are their graduate employment rates? How does VCC help students find employment, and what international students can be qualified to do in Canada? Okay, so very quickly about Vancouver, you probably already know, but I just want to remind you again that it is quite a nice city, but the population is not very large compared to a lot of cities in Asia. I did a presentation to Indonesian students just last week, and they had like more than 10 million people population in Jakarta alone. So Vancouver is a large city, but we have very small population compared to a lot of Asian countries. And it's a very nice city with great weather. It's not very cold in the winter time. It's not very hot in the summertime. So it's really mild weather. And the pictures that I included at the bottom are from Tourism Vancouver's Instagram. So feel free to follow them to get more beautiful pictures of Vancouver. Okay, so a lot of times I get asked by questions, how much is it to live in Vancouver? And can I live in a dormitory? Now, because VCC is inside of Vancouver and the majority of our students are Canadian citizens, they're from Vancouver, there's no need for VCC to build a dormitory or residence just for international students, because international students comprise of a very small percentage of VCC students. You were looking at about maybe just 10 to 12%. So a lot of our students will either stay with a homestay or they will find their own rental properties. So if you decide to stay with a homestay, currently the rate is close to $900 for 1 month. So $868 per 28 days. That's 4 weeks. And in a homestay, you actually get to experience Canadian culture. You get to stay with a Canadian family, you get to eat Canadian food. And it's a really great way if you have never been studying abroad, you have never stayed in Canada before, you wanted to experience the culture, you want to be able to practice your English speaking skills. Staying in a homestay is a really good way to get started. A lot of our students don't stay in homestays, especially if they've been in Canada for a year or two. They usually rent their own bedroom or their own apartments, depending on your budget. So I have a sample here from searchforstudenthousing.com. And this particular website actually allows you to choose which school you want to stay closest to. So when I chose VCC's Broadway campus, this one popped up as the first option available. And it's been a few weeks, so it may not be there anymore, but it just gives you an idea of what kind of living arrangements might be available. I also included roomies.ca. It's another website where people who are looking for roommates can post their properties for rent on the website. And again, you can choose by the location. You'll see that the range of rentals actually vary depending on your living style, your lifestyle. So if you want to be in a one-bedroom apartment, not sharing it with anybody else, you want to have good ocean view, looking at the Pacific Ocean, you want to be in the heart of downtown, then it's going to be quite expensive. Just like if you're in Hong Kong, you're living in a nice area. So it's going to be expensive. But if you're not living very close to the downtown core, you're living outside of the Vancouver city area, it could be quite affordable. Like, for example, this one, $600 only. Okay, so we talked about Vancouver, we talked about living arrangements. Now, where is VCC? In case you didn't know it already, VCC has 2 campuses, and both of the campuses are in Vancouver. Just like any other major metropolitan cities, Vancouver is a large city with different districts. Downtown is a very vibrant area. You can see here lots of high-rise buildings. We have one campus in the heart of downtown. We have another campus called Broadway campus, which is only about 15 to 20 minutes away by transportation. So you don't have to own a car. You can just hop on the train, take 2 stations, and then you don't really have to bike or walk too far. And the transit is actually included in your student fees. You have to pay for that, but it's a very affordable way of living in Vancouver by utilizing the public transit system. So you may be asking, well, I like Vancouver downtown because it sounds like a very nice area. Can I just go to downtown to study? The answer is yes and no, because the campus locations, they're actually based on programs. Every single program has a home campus. So for example, if you study in hospitality or our business programs or computer programs, you will be in downtown. If you're studying in a university transfer program or electronics program, you're going to be at the Broadway campus. But like I said, both campuses are very close to each other, so there is no trouble getting to and from the campuses. I share some pictures here. So on the left is a shot of our Broadway campus. It's actually a very nice campus. On the right-hand side is our downtown campus. Our downtown campus it actually has 3 buildings connected together. 2 buildings that are lower, about 4 stories high, and one of the tallest building has 9 floors in total. So it's, again, very easy access, very close to transit. Okay, so now you know about our location. What is available at VCC? So we have a lot of programs, and we only have, about an hour. I cannot tell you in details what each program will teach you, but I'll give you some highlights of some programs that are very, very popular to international students at our school. So the first category of programs that I want to talk about is the business category, because it seems to be one of the most popular subject area among all students in the world. So everybody asks about business at some point. For business programs at VCC, we have 4 different choices for students. And all these programs are different. They are teaching students very different things. If you already graduate from a bachelor degree and you're looking for something more advanced, we have 2 post-degree diplomas here at the bottom with 2 different specialties. So you can learn about project management, or you can learn about business administration in a Canadian workplace. So these are 2 different paths for you if you already have a degree. Now, you did not have a degree, you graduated from high school, maybe you had a diploma, but it was not a bachelor degree, then you have 2 choices. We have accounting program, which will train students to become accounting technicians or tax preparation clerks, or anybody who's at the entry level doing accounting jobs. Or you can choose our marketing technology program. Some of you, if you had any kind of business or marketing background, you might be wondering, why are we combining marketing and technology together? So marketing has changed over the past many, many years. 20 years ago, when I went to university, I gave away my age, but 20 years ago, when I learned marketing, we did not have Facebook. We did not have Twitter. There was no YouTube. Nobody used social media for their marketing purposes. But nowadays, a lot of businesses, they don't have an actual store, but they sell online. So really, the technologies have changed so much that we are really needing to make sure that our curriculum, whatever we're teaching students, really matches what they're going to do in the future. Because when you're learning about marketing, you're not going to learn about traditional marketing. You're actually going to learn about digital marketing. You'll learn about customer relationships management softwares. You'll learn about Google Analytics. How do they utilize website analytics to make sure that they reach out to the maximum number of potential clients? How do they use emails as part of their marketing campaigns? So lots to learn in terms of technology related to marketing. So that's business, 4 different categories. We also have computer and network technology programs. Now, if you are ever thinking about studying a computer-related program and working in the technology field, come to Vancouver, because Vancouver has been named the top city for technology job growth in 2019 and 2020. The percentage of technology job growth are actually much higher than Silicon Valley and Seattle and other cities in North America. So compared to all the North American countries in Canada and USA, Vancouver has the highest growth, the fastest growth, the biggest number of jobs available in the technology field. So at VCC, there are 2 different choices again. If you graduated from a degree already, you can study in our network program, which will be surrounding the technology of network, the administration, and the security of network. So think about cybersecurity. You don't have to have a bachelor degree that's related to computer science. You can study from arts or business or anything else, anything that's not related. We will teach you from the beginning, but we need to build your studies on a previous degree because we need to ensure that you have other skills that we don't have time to teach you. The other program is computer systems technology, which focuses a little bit more on software systems. It does not require a bachelor degree. You can just graduate from high school, grade 12 education, and then you can come and study this program. Another top program category that our students are studying in is hospitality management. So hospitality basically means the hotel accommodation, so hotels, motels, resorts, and food and beverage. So anything to do with the production of food, the service of food, and then also the accommodation industry. So hotels, restaurants, golf courses, travel agencies, tourism, event planning, catering, a lot of different jobs are available in the field of hospitality. And VCC is the largest school offering this program in Western Canada. We have so many graduates that have been, working in top hotel chains in Vancouver and also across Canada and also globally. Our instructors have been having a lot of experiences working in hotels and restaurants before they came to teach. To give you an example, the program leader or the department leader of the program who manages all instructors, she was a general manager of different hotel chains in Europe and in Canada before she came to teach at VCC. So you can imagine a lot of our students are finding it very easy to get a job because their instructors have great connections with the industry. At VCC, you have 2 choices for the hospitality management program. You can study in the diploma program, which will take 2 years to complete. After the 2 years, you can decide if you want to just go and work. And that's the majority of our students. That's what they do. They leave the program and then they work. If in the future you feel that it's necessary or it's beneficial for you to get a bachelor's degree, you can always come back to study another 2 years and then get a degree, a bachelor's degree. So we basically take the 4-year program and divide it by half. So you have an option to go to graduate and work in the industry before you continue with further education. You can also study the entire 4 years without a break, just finish everything within the 4 years and then get a degree. So it's up to you. Okay, one other popular category is automotive trades. So this is, I'm from Taiwan, so I know in Taiwan, usually these kind of blue collar workers or people who get their hands dirty, they're not paid very well in a lot of Asian countries, but it's totally different in North America. In North America, in Canada, in BC alone, the average salary that these auto mechanics and auto repair persons are making are actually sometimes twice as much as a university graduate, because we value the skills, we value their expertise in these areas. And it's not that if you are a really academic person, if you always are getting straight A in your exams, it doesn't mean you know how to fix a car. So we really value these kind of skills. At VCC, we have 2 programs. We have automotive service technology. We have automotive collision and refinishing. So these are completely different programs. You will be learning to fix and diagnose and evaluate different parts of the car. So for example, the auto service technology is about the engine, the mechanical and the mechanical system of the car. The auto collision and refinishing is about the body of the car. So you're repairing the body if there is any collision, meaning if there's any accident and then the cars are damaged from the outside, then we will have an auto collision repairman to fix it. So you're looking at different parts of the cars. And because there are so much to be learned, we cannot have a 2-year program that teaches you everything. For the 2-year program, you either learn about the body of the car, which includes the body, the windshield, and the paint of the car, or you learn about the mechanical system, such as tire rotation, engine ignition, or even oil change. So that's auto trades. All the pictures that you see on in my presentation, they're all from VCC. So all of these students they're actual students learning and practicing the skills at the VCC auto shop. And yes, we have an auto shop. Okay, another popular program area, actually 2 popular program areas are baking and pastry and culinary arts. So just like the automotive programs, you are actually learning in 2 different environments. Baking and pastry students learn in the baking and pastry labs, and culinary students learn in the kitchen setting. So they're completely different jobs in the future, even though you are kind of working, you're working with food, but it's very different setting. You're learning different skills. For baking and pastry, we have a few options. We have 11-month certificates, almost 1 year. We also have 2-year options. So it depends on if you want to learn just the one specialty, which is either baking or pastry, or if you want to learn both baking and pastry, then you can come into the 2-year program. For culinary arts, we only have the 2-year diploma option, which will train students to become first professional cook level 1 and professional cook level 2. Now you might be wondering, what about chefs? So how much more training do they have to have? So chefs in Canada, they need to have professional level 3, cook level 3, which is actually after level 2, you need to have thousands of hours of experience before you can go and take your level 3 training. So the majority of institutions will teach students at just after level 2. So at VCC, you can also be expected to learn enough skills to get you to the level 2 professional cook training. And then if you would like to stay in the industry to become a chef, then you can go for more training after you have enough work experiences. I actually myself, I worked in hotels before more than 10 years ago, and I worked in the convention services department. So I had a lot of discussions with chefs because we need to plan menus for clients. The chef, the executive chef there, they're making so much more money than sometimes the director of sales in the hotel, because they are very skilled. They are managing the entire kitchen of sometimes more than 30 or 40 different cooks and pastry chefs. So it's a very well-regarded program, and also it leads to a really great career. If you get to the chef level, you can work basically anywhere in the world. You can work on a cruise ship, you can work in a 5-star hotel, you can work in a 5-star restaurant, or you can open up your own. Okay, I'm going to speed it up a little bit because I realize I'm talking too much about the programs. We have also cosmetology programs. Cosmetology is a very interesting word. It basically means beauty, like beautiful face, beauty. There are actually 2 programs that are combined together to produce a cosmetology diploma. We have hairstylist, which is a certificate. We also have another certificate called aesthetics and spa therapy. So for you, if you are only planning to study something short, you can study either the hair program or the aesthetics program. But if you would like to have both skills, which will make you more employable, you'll find better jobs if you have both skills, then you can complete a cosmetology diploma by taking both of them, one after the other. And again, just like automotive students, sometimes the students ask me, how much are these people making? I can tell you, if you are hardworking, if you know how to sell the products, because we teach you how to do client consultation, how to sell products, you can actually make a lot of money, probably just about the same as a computer software developer. Because, and this is a real example, we had a student almost 7-8 years ago. She decided to work on a cruise ship. So, one of the cruise ships, she worked there for 1 year, trying to make some money. And then later she came back to Vancouver. So during that 1 year, she was working in the salon and spa on the cruise ship. She was making $80,000 US dollars for that 1 year, because her skills are pretty good. She's an esthetician. She does a lot of facial and body wrap and manicure, pedicure. She also found it very interesting and very easy for her to sell a product. For example, if you go to a spa and you say, my face is so dry, I would like to get a facial. And after the esthetician does the facial on you, it's very natural for you to say, oh, my skin is so dry. Do you have any products that you can recommend to me? So it's very natural for the esthetician to be able to provide consultation and recommend products that are perfect for you, or products that can actually work on you. So by doing that, they can actually get commission based on the products that they sell. So it's not very difficult as long as you know the techniques. And that's exactly what we're teaching our students. We're teaching them to become professional hairstylists, professional estheticians. We're teaching them to open up their own company or salon and spa. We also teach them management skills if they eventually become supervisors or managers of the salons and spas. They need to manage people. We also teach them what techniques or what kind of important things that they need to know if they are planning to open up a salon or spa. How many products do you have to buy? How much do you want to sell them? Do you want to make 10% margin of profit, or do you want to make a lot of profit, but the prices are too high that you cannot sell them? So there are a lot of management skills and business skills that we're teaching to these students as well. Okay, one of the last couple of categories is the design category. So yes, we have a lot of programs. We have business, we have technology, we have automotive, we have culinary, baking, pastry. cosmetology, and now we have design programs. Design programs at VCC, there are 4 of them. And our design students are really learning to design. So they need to draw using paper and also using computer software. So they need to design, they need to produce, they need to be able to make whatever they design. So they actually need to produce them. And then they have to learn how to sell them, how to market them. So there are actually different aspects of the design industry that they need to learn about. The 4 categories are fashion, so it's about clothing. Graphic design is 2D and 3D on the magazine or on the computer. We have jewelry, art, and design, again, making jewelry, and VR/AR, which is virtual reality and augmented reality. So 4 different types of design. And then last but not least, the first year university courses. So if you are thinking about coming to Canada, to Vancouver to maybe get a bachelor's degree in the future, there are 2 different ways to do it. You can go directly to a university, study 4 years, and then graduate with a degree. Or you can go to a college first, study either 1 or 2 years, depending on what you're studying, and then you transfer the credits that you learn from the college and go to a university and then graduate from the university. So there are 2 ways of doing it. So you might be wondering, then why don't you just go directly to a university? That's what I did, but it's also very expensive because usually universities cost more. It's more expensive and university classes are huge. I went to a university in Metro Vancouver. In my first and second year courses, there are usually hundreds of people in one classroom, which makes it a little bit challenging for some students. My classmates were okay. For me, it was not so much so because I like small classrooms. I like to be able to ask a question whenever I needed to. I would like to be able to make friends easily. I would like to just be able to have a different kind of learning experience. So it depends on what you like. Depends on if your grades are good enough to go directly into a university. Depends on how much money you plan to spend in education. So there are different ways of doing it. You can do it at VCC with the same courses, the same content, the same curriculum, and then just save some money. Or you can go directly to a university. So it is really your choice. At VCC, we have arts and science courses. We have engineering, computer systems courses available for transfer. There are more study options at VCC. I just didn't have time to talk about all of them, but these are different categories that are available. So later, I believe FSS will be contacting you to give you more options. So, but you feel free to go to our website just to see what we have available. Okay, so one of the most important questions is, how much is VCC's tuition? So the tuitions at VCC really, I cannot remember. So I put a chart here for you to take a look. The fees are really different by the programs. Some programs are more expensive to run. Like think about computer programs and culinary, we need kitchens. We don't charge students for the food that they are using to prepare, or for the ingredients that they're using to prepare foods to practice. We don't charge them for that. So that's why the tuition, we don't charge extra. So that's why the tuition, which includes instructors and the facilities, are actually quite a bit because there's no additional charges for the ingredients. So this is just an example of the 2-year programs. It could be as cheap or as inexpensive as $28,367 for 2 years for music, all the way to more than $20,000 per year for computer systems. So it really depends on what you want to study. So these are just some examples. Okay, oh, sorry, going back to this slide. You don't have to pay all of them all at once. So basically at VCC, you only pay the first term tuition. It's a deposit that you pay. And then after you come to VCC every term, just before the term starts, you will be asked to pay for the next term. So it'll be installments. You don't pay everything all at once. Okay, so student success. you might be wondering, okay, you talk about VCC being very practical, but how are the students finding jobs? So here are some numbers to share with you. Our average graduate employment rate is 90%. It's higher in some programs, it's slightly lower in others, but it's on average 90%. So just to give you some example, automotive service technology, the one that we talked about, it's 88%. Although every international student that I met from this program told me they have a job. So I don't know why it's not 100%, but this actually includes Canadian students too. So maybe they're not looking for work right away when they do the survey. So that is a possibility. 100% for baking and pastry and network technology, and some of them is a little bit lower. But that's a very high percentage considering that the majority of students, more than 90% of our students get a job if they want to look for a job. So how does VCC help students find a job? And how do we make sure that students are prepared for the careers that they want to go into? There are different things that we're doing. So practical education. Our programs are very practical. We don't just teach them textbook knowledge. Even for like accounting or marketing, we don't just say, here's the textbook, write an exam, and that's it. We actually ask them to do assignments that are based on real companies. We are asking them to check somebody's website, like an actual website, to check how effective the website is in attracting traffic. So we're doing a lot of things to make sure that students know how to apply the knowledge that they're learning at school into a real world setting. There are also a lot of programs that have practicum. Not all of them, but many of them have practicum, which means it's work experience outside of school. Although on campus, we have a lot of programs where they can do the practices already. We also have free tutors. So tutors at VCC are free for VCC students. You need to be a VCC student to be able to have those free services. The tutors can help with a lot of things, including practice an interview with a student. Resume writing and interview skills, which all help a student who is very qualified, but maybe a little bit nervous about going through an interview. So we teach them all those skills. Career option navigation. So we have counselors that will be helping students navigate different kind of career options depending on what they're studying. And like I said earlier, a lot of our students are really utilizing their instructors to help them get jobs, because automotive instructors, they all have experiences working as an automotive service technician, for example. So they have a lot of connections in the industry. They told me that they're actually getting phone calls almost every week from an auto shop in Vancouver asking if you have any students that can work in their auto shop. So this is really how our students are connected to the industry, is through the instructors, because they all have experiences and years of experiences in their field of instruction. So that's industry connection. Okay, so and later, since we're talking about work and jobs, in case you didn't know already, if you study from a 2-year full-time program at VCC and you graduate successfully, you can apply for up to 3 years of work permit. It's called post-graduation work permit, once in a lifetime opportunity. And I know that recently the Canadian government has more measures and more great benefits for students from Hong Kong. I don't have the details, but I think it's a lot better than the other nationalities. So really take the opportunity to be able to study, live, and work in Canada. Okay, English requirements. So I'm assuming that your English levels are quite high, because Hong Kong, it's a very nice place. Lots of people speak English, but we still need to see some proof of English proficiency. So the majority of VCC programs require 6.5 IELTS, no band less than 6. Some programs require 6.0, some 5.5, and one program only requires 5.0. Now, the 5.0 program doesn't mean that you don't have to be smart or you don't have to have good command of English to come. The reason this program only requires 5.0 is because we actually added some communications classes to the first year. So term 1 and term 2, there will be one communication class on Friday every week to teach students vocabulary, terminology, how to communicate in the automotive industry with suppliers, with customers, and with the other auto technicians. So that's why the requirements are lower, only because we added some courses to complement the students' English proficiency. The 5.5 level is just because these are really skilled programs. We are not requiring students to do a presentation on a particular research. So the level of English doesn't have to be as high as 6.5. And how do you meet the English levels or the English requirements at VCC? We have different tests that we are accepting, such as IELTS, TOEFL. We now accept Duolingo for winter 2022 and also fall 2021. If you had studied in UK, for example, for 3 years, or USA or New Zealand or any other English-speaking country, where English is the language of instruction in your school, you may not need to take IELTS or TOEFL. But if you just study from Hong Kong, even though the language of instruction is English only, we still can't take it just because Hong Kong is not considered an English-speaking country officially. Okay, just to recap, just to remind you that studying at VCC really is about getting a job in the future, studying something very practical that leads to the success of you working in Canada in the future. So this is something to kind of keep in mind. And just to remind you of some numbers, average employment rate after students graduate is 90%. Some programs are higher, some programs are slightly lower. Because we are a public school, so if you study in Canada at VCC for 2 years full-time, you can actually qualify for a 3-year post-graduation work permit. The minimum wage in BC, in our province, will be $15.60 per hour in June 2021. It will increase every year because of inflation. Bananas are more expensive year by year. That's why the salaries, the minimum wage, which is guaranteed to be paid to you legally, will also increase to make sure that everybody is able to maintain a good living style. And also, I haven't talked about this, but if you go to workbc.ca, which is a government website, you can actually see how much on average a hairstylist may be making and how much a computer technician may be making. So there are a lot of statistics about that. A lot of the careers that our students go into, usually the annual median salary is more than $50,000. Take computer, for example, it's $70,000 or $80,000, depending on the type of jobs. A technical support person, $60,000 very easily. And like I said, cosmetology graduates with all the tips and the commissions that they're getting on top of the minimum salaries that they are entitled for, it's very easily between $50,000 and $70,000. So it's a great way to make money. It's a really good investment because the average tuition probably is between $35,000 to $40,000 on average for the majority of VCC programs. So for 2 years, you spend less than the annual median salary that you may be anticipating after graduating. So it's a really good deal. Okay, before I open to questions, I would like to remind you that we have an Instagram account and also a Facebook account. If you follow us on Instagram, you'll see a lot of pictures and sometimes videos of our students sharing their study experiences at VCC. You can actually see somebody doing a makeup or a hair curling session, or from our culinary arts department, they're doing some cooking. So it's a very interesting way to see how students' life look like. Or if you prefer to use Facebook, we post similar, sometimes similar materials on there too. Okay, I want to open my floor to questions. But again, thank you very much for joining. It's a great pleasure to virtually meet you, even though I don't see you. You don't have your cameras on, but feel free to turn on your camera to say hello, ask me any question that you have. I speak Mandarin. I told you at the very beginning, I was born in Taiwan. I was raised in Taiwan until grade 10. Think, and then I came here when I was in grade 11. So I do speak fluent Mandarin. My Cantonese is not so good. So ask me anything if you like, in English, via chat, or just unmute yourself, show your camera, and I'm happy to talk to you. Okay, no questions? Really? My presentation was that good? It covered everything? Okay, I'm going to go back to the slide, just as a reminder of why students choose VCC. Really, when they choose VCC, they think about jobs, they think about the location, they think about how practical the programs are. It really leads to a career opportunity. And the best thing is, at VCC, our entrance requirements are not all the same. They really change depending on the program. For example, if you're coming to hospitality management, you will be learning accounting courses. You'll be learning financial courses. So we require high school math from grade 11, which is reasonable. But if you're coming to cosmetology to learn about hairstyling and aesthetics, we don't need math. We don't want students to necessarily having to meet certain requirements that are not needed in the program. Our admissions requirements are set in such a way to maximize the student's success. But at the same time, we don't want it to be an unnecessary requirement, just because if we don't teach it, why are we requiring it? So you don't have to worry about, what if your grades are not the greatest? As long as you meet the minimum of what we're looking for, you'll be fine. Okay, no questions? Nobody wants to ask me anything? Okay, so somebody was asking me, what kind of marks do you need to go to have to go to UBC? So again, years and years ago, 20 years ago, when I was looking for a university, I got accepted by UBC and SFU. I ended up going to SFU, but at that time, UBC only required 86%. Now, if you are coming directly from high school, I think they're looking for like 95 or 96, depending on the subject area. If you study at VCC and you're using VCC's courses to go to UBC, it's also depending on every year, because if UBC in 2021, they have a lot of applicants from post-secondary institutions like colleges applying, then the GPA or the average mark may be higher because they have so many people whose grades are really high. But if, say, 2021, the number of students applying are not that many, and average grade is also quite low, then the requirement will be lower. So in other words, it actually changes every single year. It changes depending on the major. Is this a popular major? Like computer and engineering, they're all very popular. So you can assume that the grades are very high. But don't be discouraged, because like I said, I've gone to the university system here. Even if you go directly to UBC, if your grades are not good in year one, they kick you out. So it's the same thing. You have to maintain a reasonable grade to continue through the university, even if you go directly to the university. So it's the same thing, whether if you go directly to UBC or you come to VCC, take some courses and transfer over, you have to maintain good grades. So that would be my advice. If your grades are just barely passing or kind of a C satisfactory grade, your chance is very, very low to go to a university, especially like UBC, which is a popular university. If you have studied in the UK for 2 years, it's not enough. The reason that we need, wait, let me think. Yeah, the reason that we need somebody to have 3-year face-to-face instruction in an English-speaking country is because we need to make sure that the students has the ability to be able to communicate in English. So your grades may be really good in the English writing course in Hong Kong, for example. But if you have never been studying in an English-speaking country where everybody's using English legally, we cannot assess your listening and speaking skills. So for you, Ms. Chen, it really depends. So if you have a English writing course, like an English literature course in a UK high school, grade 12, or if you have a UK university course, which is writing course or literature course, we may be able to look at that and then waive the IELTS requirement. But it really depends on the course as well. So first of all, let me know what program you're looking for. And second of all, was it 2 years in UK? Was it just English as a second language learning? Was it a practical program? Did you learn anything in university writing? Because if you did not, then we won't be able to check to make sure that your English level is enough for our programs. So long story short, long answer short, it is possible, but we have to double check to see what you have studied there. Because we've had students studying in Canada for like 2 years, but always in ESL. They've never really been learning anything academic. It's just ESL. Then we can't really use the language study from ESL. We do, if your English level is not high enough, for example, if the requirement is 6.5, and you only have 5.5, there are two options. You can either retake the English test if you feel that you didn't do quite well and you want to retake it, that is possible. Or you can actually study at VCC's language school partners. So we have two partners. We have ILAC, and ILSC. So these two schools are our appointed partners, which are providing English training. So you can study there for maybe a few months, depending on your English level. If your English levels are quite low and the requirement is quite high, then you may study like 6 months. It depends on, again, your level and the requirement at VCC. So that is a possibility. We can give you a conditional offer. I know that you call it dual offer, but we actually call it conditional. The condition means that you have to complete the language by a certain date at the school that I listed here. You can use the conditional offer to apply for study permit. You can study with the language school first, and then by the time that you meet the required level, you can come directly to VCC without additional IELTS or TOEFL testing. However, the conditional offer is not for all programs. It's for the majority of programs, but not all. So let me know what you're interested in studying, because if you want to study something like design programs, they actually require an interview or a portfolio review. So we can't really give you a conditional offer, because if your English is not sufficient enough to be in an interview, we can't give you an offer. But the majority of the programs, yes, especially like business or even technology, university studies, culinary, baking, cosmetology, almost everything else, we can give you a conditional offer. But you will be required to study in one of these language schools. Okay, any more questions? Thank you for asking the question. I'm going to go back again to this page. Oh, actually, no, I'm going to go back to the program, the study options, just in case you are interested in something else that I didn't talk about and you would like to get more information. I'll be more than happy to provide that to you. Okay. I think we have about just 9 minutes left. I'm going to stick around to see if there are other questions that you would like to ask. If not, you go ahead and have a wonderful day ahead of you. I think it's about your lunchtime. So have a good lunch, have a wonderful weekend, stay safe and healthy during this interesting time. We are too, staying very safe and healthy. Everywhere we go, we wear a mask. It's kind of mandatory everywhere. And people are fine about it. We don't, discriminate anybody who wears a mask. So it's all good. Okay, thank you so much. You're free to leave. I'm going to stick around for a little while. But yeah, if you have any questions, if you want to send me a private chat, I can respond to you privately by typing, or I can respond to your questions right here. Okay, so I will stick around here for a couple more minutes, but have a wonderful day. Bye-bye, everyone.